Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're digging into something almost all of us do, especially at work. Jumping in with advice.
Mm-hmm. That reflex.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it often backfires, right? It can actually hold people back. So our mission today is looking at how to break that habit.
Yeah, replacing the advice monster, as some call it, with something more powerful, asking the right questions.
We're diving deep into this framework, often called the coaching habit. It's about a shift in conversation that can really unlock a team's potential.
That's the core idea.
Mm.
We think we're being helpful, solving problems quickly, but often we're just creating dependency.
Right. So the insight from the research is pretty clear, if a bit counterintuitive.
It is. Saying less, asking more.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually the faster way to get to the real issues and, build real commitment.
I like that. Asking more is the shortcut. It means letting go of that need to be the one with all the answers.
Yeah, ditching the hero leader model.
So for you listening, what we've put together is basically a toolkit. 7 key questions.
That's right. We'll cover the kickstart question, the learning question, the focus question, foundation question.
The strategic one, the lazy question, which sounds fun, and the AWE question.
Which the source material calls the best coaching question out there. These are really tools to break those old, unproductive conversation habits.
Okay, so let's start with the why. Why do we leap to solve the first thing someone brings up?
Well, often the person bringing the problem isn't actually clear on the real challenge themselves.
Ah, okay, so they give us the symptom.
Exactly. And we, trying to be helpful, immediately start treating that symptom.
Yeah.
But it's rarely the actual disease, so to speak.
The sources had a great term for the ways people kind of obscure the real issue. Foggy fires.
Yes, foggy fires.
Yeah.
These are like practice ways of talking about problems that keep things really vague.
What do those look like in practice? How do we spot them?
Well, there are a few common patterns. First one is the proliferation of challenges.
Okay, what's that?
That's when someone just dumps everything on you. Financial stuff, people problems, tech issues, like a dozen things at once.
Oh, yeah. Overwhelm, and you feel like you have to grab one thing to fix.
Right, just to feel like you're making progress.
Yeah.
But you're not getting to the root of the overall mess.
Yeah.
And it instantly makes you the project manager.
Which is a total time sink for a leader. Okay, what's another foggy fire?
The second is coaching the ghost. This one's really frustrating.
Coaching the ghost.
Yeah, it's when the problem is all about someone who isn't even in the room. If only Mark did his part, or sales just isn't pulling their weight.
Ah, okay. So you end up coaching the person in front of you about how to deal with Mark or sales.
Instead of focusing on what this person needs to do differently or what friction they might be causing, you're talking about the problem, not to the person who can actually change their own actions.
Got it. And the third?
Abstractions and generalizations. This is the killer of action. It's using those big, vague statements. Team morale is low. We need more synergy. Communication needs to be better.
Right. Impossible to act on. It's just fog.
Exactly. And faced with that, what does the leader do? Often, just give equally vague advice because digging deeper feels too hard, too time-consuming.
So the antidote to these foggy fires, this is where the questions come in.
Precisely. The key one here is the focus question. And the wording is very specific.
Okay, what is it?
What's the real challenge here for you?
What's the real challenge here for you? Okay, let's break that down. Why emphasize the for you? Why not just what's the real challenge?
Because without the for you, they can keep talking about the ghost or the system or the economy, anything external.
Ah, it keeps the focus outward.
Right. But adding for you, that pulls it right back to the person sitting there. It forces them to think about their part, their struggle, their responsibility. It pins it to them. Exactly. It makes them define what they need to figure out or change. It stops them from just handing the problem over to you. They have to own it.
This ties into accountability, doesn't it? We've talked before about sources on crucial conversations.
Yes, absolutely.
And how if you're having the same difficult conversation over and over, you're probably missing the real issue.
That's a painful truth for leaders. It usually means a deeper violation or pattern isn't being addressed.
So the focus question, what's the real challenge here for you? It forces that confrontation. It cuts through the fog to find that deeper issue.
It's like a surgical tool for the conversation. It's the shortest path to dealing with what actually matters, which in the long run is way more efficient. # creating a culture of candor, the safety net.
Okay, so using questions like this isn't just about solving one problem at a time. It sounds like it changes the whole dynamic, the culture.
It really does.
Yeah.
When a leader consistently asks good, open questions, it sends a powerful signal. It says, my door is open, and I trust you to think.
Which is the opposite of micromanagement, right? That fear-based approach.
Exactly. It builds psychological safety. People feel safer speaking up.
There's a great story about this from Pixar, isn't there? After Toy Story became this huge hit.
Yeah, that's a classic example.
Yeah.
The pressure was immense to replicate that success, and initially, they tightened up. Information had to flow through strict channels.
So like an animator couldn't just talk directly to a technical person.
Pretty much. You had to go up the chain and back down.
Yeah.
It was well-intentioned, trying to manage complexity, but it just gummed everything up.
I can imagine. Frustrating for the creative folks.
Hugely frustrating. They realized they'd confused the organizational chart with how communication actually needed to happen, especially for creative work.
So what was the fix?
The leadership made a clear declaration. Anyone could talk to anyone else at any level at any time without getting in trouble.
Wow. That's a big shift. They decoupled communication from hierarchy.
They had to. They realized that free-flowing, sometimes out-of-order communication was essential for creativity.
And that speaks to this leadership imperative for openness. It has to start at the top.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Leaders can't just say, I want feedback. They have to actively show they welcome it, even when it's critical.
Like that example of the CEO, Tom Jarity.
Right? From Index Group. He hired a consultant, and then in front of his whole team, asked the consultant to lay out everything he, the CEO, was doing wrong.
That takes guts. Public vulnerability.
It does. But think about the message that sends. It dramatically lowers the risk, the embarrassment factor, for everyone else to speak up or admit a mistake.
So making it safe to be wrong, essentially.
Exactly. When you reduce that fear of embarrassment, creativity goes up. People are willing to share half-baked ideas, admit errors early. It becomes about learning, not blaming.
Which naturally leads to valuing different viewpoints, even disagreement.
Yes. Leaders need to actively pull for those opposing views. If you sense people are holding back, you need to make it safe, even expected.
How do you do that?
Explicitly ask for it. Say things like, what are we missing here? Or play devil's advocate for me. Or even, what assumption am I making that might be totally wrong?
Creating permission for dissent.
Precisely. So shifting from telling to asking isn't just a technique. It's how a leader builds that foundation of safety and candor. They become a facilitator, not a bottleneck.
Okay, let's get really practical now. For someone listening who wants to start using this, let's walk through the 7 questions, this toolkit. We need the bookends first, right? The start and the end of the conversation.
Right. The structure. You kick things off with a kickstart question.
Okay, what's that one?
It's super simple. What's on your mind?
What's on your mind? That sounds quite gentle.
It is, but it's powerful. It's
Yeah.
open, but it immediately puts the focus on their agenda, not yours, whether it's a formal meeting or just bumping into someone.
So it prevents the conversation from just drifting or me imposing my topic?
Exactly. It invites them to name their priority. Then at the very end of the conversation, you use the learning question.
The closing bookend. What's the purpose here?
To make sure the conversation actually landed, that it was useful, the question is, what was most useful for you about this conversation?
Ah, what was most useful for you? I like that.
Yeah.
It makes them reflect and articulate the value.
Right. Instead of the leader summarizing, okay, so we decided X, it forces them to synthesize their own key takeaway.
And that probably helps lock in commitment too, right? And makes them feel the time was well spent.
Absolutely. That reinforces the value of talking with you, not just to you.
Yeah.
Increases the chance they'll seek you out again proactively. Hashtag, tag the core insight questions.
Okay, so we have the start and the finish. Now for the core questions that drive insight. We've already talked a lot about the focus question.
What's the real challenge here for you?
Yeah.
Yes, getting that ownership pinned down.
Now, what about the one the source calls the best coaching question in the world? The AWE question. You built it up. What is it?
Okay, prepare yourself.
Mm.
It's incredibly simple.
And what else?
That's it. And what else?
That's it.
Okay, I admit, like you said, I am a bit skeptical. 3 words. The best question, how?
The skepticism is totally normal, but its power is in its simplicity and its dual function. First, for the person you're talking to.
It acts as a multiplier for the other questions. Ask what's on your mind, and they give an answer. Then you ask, and what else?
Ah, so it pushes them past the first easy answer.
Exactly. The first idea is rarely the only idea or the best one. Asking, and what else, gets them to dig deeper, generate more options, maybe 2, 3, 4 possibilities. It enriches the whole discussion.
Okay, I can see that, getting more on the table. But you said it has a dual function. It affects the leader, too.
This is the really crucial part, often missed. When you, the leader, ask, and what else? What are you forced to do?
Uh, Wait for the answer. Listen.
Exactly. You have to shut up. You have to pause your own brain, resist the urge to jump in with your solution or opinion.
Uh, the advice monster pause button.
Precisely. It's a self-management tool for the leader. It forces you to stay curious, stay quiet, and let them do the thinking. That's why it boosts all the other questions. The leader stops talking, the other person starts really thinking.
That reframes it completely. It's as much about controlling my impulse as it is about getting more from them.
Wow. Okay. And what else? I'm
Yep.
starting to see it.
It's deceptively powerful. Now, let's clarify another pair. The focus question and the foundation question. They sound similar, both about getting to the core.
Right. Focus is, what's the real challenge here for you? What's the foundation question?
The foundation question is, what do you want?
What do you want? Very direct. How is that different from identifying the challenge?
Think of it this way. The focus question for you is about clarifying ownership and the problem boundary. Are we talking about your issue or someone else's? The foundation question, what do you want, is about defining the desired state or the core need.
Okay. So focus is about the problem. Foundation is about the goal or outcome. Exactly. What's the fundamental thing you're trying to achieve here? Are you looking for more autonomy, less conflict, faster results? Until that underlying want is clear, any solution might be aiming at the wrong target. It gets past the symptoms to the core motivation. #tag the action and efficiency questions.
Okay, structure, insight. Now let's talk action and efficiency.
Yeah.
There's the strategic question, the one that saves the other person time.
Right. This one is all about ensuring the action they're considering actually makes sense in the bigger picture. It prevents wasted effort on things that aren't priorities.
So what is the question?
If you say yes to this, what are you saying no to?
Ooh, I like that. If you say yes to this, what are you saying no to? It forces them to consider the opportunity cost.
Exactly. Time, energy, resources, they're all finite. This makes them weigh the trade-offs. Is this really the most important thing to do right now? It helps them prioritize effectively, saving potentially hours of work on lower value tasks.
Brilliant. Okay, now for the one that saves me time, the leader, the lazy question. Tell me about this one. It sounds a bit wrong. Leaders aren't supposed to be lazy.
Huh. It sounds wrong, but it targets the wrong kind of leadership habit. The source humorously points out that the truly lazy leader, in a bad way, is the one who instantly takes the monkey off someone else's back and solves the problem for them.
Okay. So this question stops me from doing that. What is it?
It's about clarifying the request before you jump in. Instead of just hearing a problem and assuming you know how to help, you ask something direct like, what do you want from me?
What do you want from me? Or maybe, how specifically can I support you?
Yes, variations like that work. The point is to make them articulate a clear, specific ask, not just vent or dump the problem in your lap.
So it stops me from guessing, or worse, taking over completely.
Exactly. It keeps the responsibility, the cognitive load of figuring out the next step with them. They have to think about what kind of help they actually need, advice, resources, a decision, an obstacle removed.
That's incredibly efficient, actually. It forces clarity and maintains their ownership.
Okay, the lazy question makes sense now. It's about being strategically lazy, letting them do the work that's rightfully theirs.
Precisely. And ultimately, all 7 questions work together towards that goal of empowerment. You're guiding them to find their own answers, their own path.
Which connects motivation, right? Self-determination.
Absolutely. When people figure things out for themselves and commit to their own solutions, even small ones, they build confidence, integrity, self-control. These questions are the framework for that self-authoring process.
Okay, zooming out a bit, this whole approach, this coaching habit, feels like a pretty fundamental shift in what leadership even means.
It really is. When you prioritize asking questions and facilitating someone else's growth over just giving orders or solutions, you're moving towards servant leadership.
Explain that a bit more. Servant leadership.
The core idea is that the leader's primary role is to serve the needs of their team, focusing on their growth and well-being rather than wielding power over them. So enabling them, empowering them.
Exactly. Asking questions is a very practical way to do servant leadership. It shows trust. It invests in their capability. It helps them develop. It creates this positive feedback loop.
And this isn't just for, soft environments. Even in high-stakes situations, this idea of empowering through understanding is critical, like the Navy SEALs approach.
Right. The concept of extreme ownership. A key part of that is ensuring that everyone, especially those on the front lines, doesn't just know what to do, but why they're doing it.
They need the commander's intent, the strategic context.
Absolutely, because things change fast. Orders might become irrelevant. If they understand the underlying purpose, the strategic goal, they can adapt, make decisions, and lead effectively, even when communication breaks down or the plan changes.
And asking good questions is how leaders ensure that deep understanding exists, right? Not just briefing them, but checking their comprehension and context.
Precisely. It's using questions to confirm they have the why needed to maintain ownership and act intelligently, even without direct orders. It builds resilience and agility in the team. Tag action, nature, and wisdom, ancient perspectives on virtue and growth.
It's fascinating how these very modern-sounding leadership ideas actually echo much older philosophical thinking about human development.
Oh, definitely. The shift from just telling people what to do to coaching them through questions, it resonates with ancient ideas about how people reach their potential.
Like Aristotle.
Yeah, think about Aristotle's idea of nature needing to be perfected by craft.
Yeah.
He saw things, including human nature, as having potential that needs deliberate skill or practice of craft to be fully realized.
Right. So, like, statesmanship was the craft to perfect citizens.
Right. And you could argue that in today's context, coaching using these structured questions is the craft leaders use to help individuals perfect their professional skills, their judgment, their effectiveness.
It's a developmental practice, not just management.
Exactly. It's about actively shaping capability through dialogue. And then you have Cicero.
Roman statesman and philosopher.
Right. In his work on duties, he talks about where our highest duties lie. He argues that duty arising from human connection, from caring for others' well-being, is paramount.
More important than just knowing stuff.
Yes. He actually says that duty, that care for humanity, is preferred over knowledge and contemplation unless that knowledge leads to practical action. Insight alone isn't enough.
Wow. So applying that here, the coaching habit, using these questions.
It becomes the ethical tool that connects insight to action. You're helping the person translate their understanding, their potential solutions, into actual purposeful steps that benefit them, the team, the organization. You're ensuring knowledge becomes responsible action.
That puts a lot of weight on asking good questions. It's not just about efficiency. It's about fulfilling a kind of duty of care. Hashtag individual responsibility in the inner core.
And at the heart of all this is individual responsibility. That, for you in the focus question, brings it right back there.
It forces them into their circle of influence, doesn't it? That idea from Stephen Covey.
Exactly. Focusing energy on what you can control, your own thoughts, actions, responses, rather than getting bogged down in the circle of concern, all the external things you can't directly change.
So the questions constantly redirect the person. Okay, given all that external stuff, what is your piece? What can you do? It prevents that victim mindset.
Yes. It fosters proactivity. And this links to even deeper ideas about meaning and well-being. Think about Viktor Frankl's logotherapy.
Frankl, the psychiatrist who survived the Holocaust and wrote Man's Search for Meaning.
Right. He suggested that many psychological struggles stem from a feeling of meaninglessness, an existential vacuum. Logotherapy works by helping people find their unique meaning or purpose in life, even in suffering.
And how do the coaching questions relate to that?
Well, in a professional context, questions like the foundation question, what do you want, and the focus question, for you, push the individual to connect their immediate task or problem to something deeper.
To their own sense of purpose or contribution within their role.
Exactly. They help the person identify their unique challenge, their desired outcome, making the work feel more meaningful, more self-directed, rather than just something they have to do. It taps into that need for purpose.
So by consistently guiding people through this process of self-discovery and self-chosen action,
You're not just managing tasks, you're helping them build that inner core of responsibility, meaning, and control. The leader becomes a catalyst for their growth, not just their boss.
Yeah.
Hashtag tag outro.
this has been incredibly insightful. We've really mapped out how shifting from that default advice-giving mode to asking just a few very specific questions can fundamentally change everything.
Yeah, it moves the leader from being the bottleneck, the chief problem solver, to being the facilitator, the team's own capability and ownership.
In those 7 questions, Kickstart, AWE, Focus, Foundation, Lazy, Strategic, Learning, they provide such a clear, practical path for anyone wanting to make that shift.
It's a tangible toolkit, but the real shift, the deeper one, isn't just memorizing questions. It's about cultivating that curiosity, that genuine desire to understand before jumping in.
Building a culture of inquiry, really.
Exactly. It requires being alert, paying attention to the dynamics of the conversation, recognizing that empowering others starts with your own mindset, your own willingness to ask rather than tell.
So for everyone listening, as you think about your own conversations, your own leadership style, maybe reflect on that Cicero quote we mentioned earlier.
How much greater is the power of goodwill, and how feeble is the power of fear?
Right. Cicero believed that if you want true influence, the kind built on respect and trust, not fear, you have to actively inquire how to earn it.
Hmm. Makes you think.
It does. So maybe the most powerful investment you can make in building that goodwill, that lasting influence, is simply committing to ask more, listen more, and understand more deeply before you ever offer a solution.
Try using those 7 questions. Focus on the asking. See what answers and what ownership starts to emerge from the people around you. It might surprise you.